The 1960s was an interesting time period, if you could say that. Well, we had a bunch of accidents and assassinations, but we also landed people on the moon. Unless you do not believe that we landed people on the moon. And that is kind of a dumb thing to believe in, because we have a lot of evidence for that. If you have a strong enough telescope, you'd be able to see the landing site and that stuff. We have satellites orbiting the moon right now, and it's all on footage. Many arguments, for example, why was there no stars in the background? Well, because they don't bring iPhone 15s onto a moon lander. It's pretty easy to debunk. They're probably some of the easiest conspiracy theories to debunk. But there is another type of conspiracy theory about another event from the 1960s. And oh boy, you know where I'm going with this, don't you? The Kennedy assassination. Now you all know the drill. On November 22nd, 1963, John F. Kennedy was assassinated while riding on his motorcade in Dallas, Texas. And, you know, the killer was Harvey Oswald, and then he walks into a theater, gets arrested, and then gets killed a few hours later. Yeah, you all know the drill. But it's not completely correct. I mean, like, the basic stuff was correct, but that summary left a lot of stuff out. Now, I am not a conspiracy theorist. I do not believe in any of these conspiracy theories. I just think that they're all, like, not really factually based, but they do bring up a lot of good points, and they should not be ignored. So, here are my doubts. First of all, we all know about the bullets. The bullets that were used to kill John F. Kennedy. One of them is a very, very nice, pristine bullet. Something that you would see in a museum. It is the magic bullet. For some reason, that was the bullet that, and get this, went through John F. Kennedy's neck, came out the other end, went into Governor Connolly's neck, who is sitting in front of him, into his neck, out his neck, into his wrist, out his wrist, into the car. Yeah. And if you look up images of that bullet, you will see that it is very indeed pristine. The only trace of it having been fired is rifling marks on its side. And that's basically all the damage it has, besides a few blunt stuff on the tip, and that's it. Now, you might say, oh, I guess that's just how bullets work. Well, unfortunately, I used to be a Civil War enthusiast, so I know how lead bullets work, and because that bullet was lead, that makes absolutely no sense. A lead bullet is a lead bullet. If you take a piece of lead, try this at home with gloves, and throw it on the ground, you will damage it, and you will be able to see the damage. Now you make that go really, really fast through two people and a wrist, and you're gonna tell me that it came out completely pristine. Now, that is not just improbable, that is basically impossible. Now, if you did it enough times, yes, you would be able to come out with an outcome like that, but that's just maths, not, common sense. You can't throw a soft thing at two hard objects and expect it to not be squashed. And also, by the way, your wrist is really, really, really hard. And if you just went through two people's necks, and now you had to go through a wrist, I don't know if you'd expect you to come out the other end completely perfect. That is the only doubts I have about the Kennedy assassination. Of course, there's the conspiracy theorists, and they have a lot of cool stuff to unpack. I'm not going to doubt any of this, because a lot of the stuff that they bring up are really, really important and great observations. First of all, the government, well, a lot of people believe that the government had something to do with the Kennedy assassination, and I can see where they're getting at. I mean, like the CIA, what is the CIA known for? Well, let's see, assassination, basically assassinating everybody who they don't like. And let's see, Kennedy once said that he will smash the CIA into a million pieces and scatter them to the winds. Yeah, I'm not very sure if the CIA would be very, fond of having such a rude man as their leader. So, CIA, just CIA the hell out of him, which means assassinate him. And I can see where that's getting from, but CIA is mostly known for trying to assassinate South American leaders and failing every single time to assassinate Fidel Castro. They, as far as I am aware, have never tried to assassinate the leader of their own country, or at least somebody important in their own country, unless it's like the gangsters or the mafia. So, this is very, very unlikely. I can see where they're getting at. And also, apparently, the government was tracking Lee Harvey Oswald, the killer of John F. Kennedy, before Lee Harvey Oswald killed Kennedy. Why? For censored purposes. Now, we have some pretty good hints about it. They're probably not going to come out and explain it to us, because here's another thing that a lot of people complain about. The government is hiding a lot from us about the Kennedy assassinations. And this is very, very, very true. If you look at the amount of stuff that's been censored from literally in the footage of his brain, you are going to be amazed at how much stuff the government has censored about the Kennedy assassination. I'm not expressing doubts about the government, but that's a little bit sketchy, and I can see why a lot of people think that the government was part of this. I do not think that the government was part of this. Now, why don't I think so? Because there's not enough evidence to support that claim. Now, I'd be completely fine if the government was indeed part of the Kennedy assassination, except they wouldn't, because I don't want the government to be assassinating presidents. But hey, I can't do anything about that. It already happened. I firmly believe that Lee Harvey Oswald killed John F. Kennedy on his own accord. It was not part of any conspiracy, that the government was not part of it. But I do believe that Lee Harvey Oswald was already being tracked by the government, and the government could have, sniped Lee Harvey Oswald before Lee Harvey Oswald sniped the head of the government. So, could the assassination have been prevented? Probably not, because it already happened. Unfortunately, we have nothing to do about the Kennedy assassination. We're going to have to wait until the government gives out new information about the Kennedy assassination that has not been disclosed since the assassination actually happened. So, we're just going to have to wait until the government gives us more information. Just be patient, and you'll get more stuff, and we'll see who's right about it. But I am not a conspiracy theorist, and I just think that most conspiracy theorists are insane.